Have the music charts finally had enough of Ed Sheeran? Not even breaking the top 30? What's happening here? More on that later though. Love him or hate him, he's one of the biggest pop acts of the last decade, busking on the streets of London to dominating charts worldwide. He's built his career on like acoustic confessionals, pop mega hits, and the occasional rap feature, mostly from himself. Hello, welcome back. You're with me, Icy Snaps, and today we will be reviewing Ed Sheeran's new album, Play. But will we be reaching for the stop button by the end of this review? Let's find out. 13 tracks long, running at 13 tracks long, running at 44 minutes and 44 seconds. Illuminati. He's also released an extended version at this point, but before I even think about getting into that, I want to see if I can make it through this. This is his 8th studio album, plus divide, subtract, multiply equals, just to name a few. I hope you paid attention in maths, kids. And from here, he's had various degrees of success, from dominating the music charts to dominating the music charts. Yeah, he's been pretty successful, I'd say. If you look online topics regarding Ed Sheeran, people either love him or absolutely despise him. And I kind of get where the criticism comes in from both sides. Whilst there are some songs I genuinely enjoy from him, it's all very formulaic. He knows how to make those musical earwigs, you know, the ones that really crawl right up inside there and attach themselves to your brain and you can't get it out. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he busts out an acoustic ballad, what made him kind of famous in the first place. You've heard it all before, right? So at some point it gets slightly repetitive and a little bit stale. Where's the surprise? Ed is great at taking musical concepts that kind of already exist and then turning them into something new. Hence all these court cases, right? Which he rightfully won, by the way. And this is something we even hear on this album. Take one of the lead singles, Azizam, which sounds slightly familiar to Leave Me Alone by Michael Jackson, but it has its own flair, sure. And as catchy as it is, it feels very much like Ed Sheeran, right? Like we've heard this before from him. This isn't really anything new. The flow of the song, melody, vocal melodies, nothing's really sounding exciting. Again, it's something Ed Sheeran's really good at, making songs that just get stuck in your head. And it's like, if you like this song, that's okay. You're supposed to like this song. That's how it's made. It's very listenable, but I can see myself and others maybe getting a bit tired of it. Let's bring it back slightly to the opening track. Opening, you know, just in case you didn't know where to start. And we get this really sweet acoustic number, but wait! Suddenly rap. We get surprised like this throughout the album. You never know when it's going to really happen. Ed rapping is something that brought him a lot of attention, I think, in his earlier years. I remember those viral videos of him doing like a bit of a Jamaican accent, I think it was, or something. You know, times were different, but the rapping is kind of a bit corny. There's no really escaping that because of who he is, unfortunately. It isn't until the last minute or so that I start to hear something that I'm really enjoying. All these harmonies start to collide, there's a big build-up of sound, but again, it's over too quick. Coming on to another big record from the album, Sapphire, and already I'm just drowned in reverb. But there's nothing really here for you to hold on to ground you. The high ends overpower everything in this song, which does kind of make sense if you're going with that traditional Indian style vibe, but for pop I don't think it works so well here. We do get some nice variation with the instruments with that Indian influence though, which is something I usually quite enjoy, but here it's just used in like the most basic pop way. This was a good chance for him to experiment with that sound. I call back on the Beatles because, you know, it was a big influence for Ed Sheeran. But here Ed's afraid to do anything outside the box in case, what, it doesn't sell, doesn't top in the charts? Which is something this album seems to be struggling with. Not in the top 30 in the UK charts, and not even on the Billboard Top 100. I don't know, perhaps people are getting a little bored or tired of the same sound. We get more Indian influence on the song Symmetry. It feels a bit more fun, something I might hear in the club, and the addition of the Hindi vocals really adds to the authenticity of, you know, using that sound. Hey, it's 2025. Best not forget to add that folky country song, Old Phone. Yes. And I quite like the premise of this song, you know, finding your old phone, going through it, reminiscing, you know, back to a simpler time. But there's something weird about his lyrics here. They're both like equally bad and good at the exact same time. Nostalgia trying to lead me astray, maybe I'll unwrite some wrongs, which are pretty okay, decent lyrics. And then right after, I changed my batteries again. Combinations because my passcode has changed. I get he's painting this picture, but they really are just completely nothing lines. And this album feels full of that kind of storytelling. Ed seems to be lowering his artistic standard a little bit. He's known for being such a great writer, but most songs feel like a first draft, maybe a bit lazy. Continuing with the album though, with Take a Bow by Rihanna, I mean In Other Words by Ed Sheeran. Again, it's okay, it's a bit, you know, toned down with that distorted piano, which I thought was a bit of an odd choice here. It's nice and romantic, but again, a little bit forgettable. This leads on to A Little More, which was quite a decent song, and the video I really like as well. I love the fact he wanted to say someone's crazy, but because of the connotations behind using that word, he's had to sort of justify it. I can't call you crazy because you could be diagnosed. Just funny. But it wouldn't be an Ed Sheeran album with a revenge song, right? He always has them, and I think it's just because he knows so many assholes. At least he kind of admits this person's living rent-free in his head this time. Other than that though, it does have kind of a nice groove and a vocal melody, and it's actually one of the better mixed songs on the album. For me though, this is where the album takes a bit of a dip. The song Slowly, what's going on with Ed's vocals here? They're sounding distorted and slightly off. Nothing really works in this song together. I can hear that he's kind of going for this distorted homebrew sound, but it's just really overproduced and like overdone. Yeah, not great. Weirdly though, compared to the next song where it's really clean and where we hear some of Ed's better vocal performances, really hitting those high notes, and he really does hit them nicely. Instrumentally, it's also okay. I mean, there's nothing special here either, but I do like the punchy tranciness of it. Hey, if nothing comes from this album, at least we have another song to play at weddings. The Vow, Basic Brides Rejoice. Lyrically, I think it's actually quite nice. It's a love song. What do you expect? Again, it's nothing special, but there's this real sentiment behind his vocals. Finally, on to the last song, and we are in heaven. Well, I'm not, but you know, that's the song name. Channeling some Imogen Heap here, who actually recently made a bit of a resurgence. Unlike Imogen, it's lacking any depth or vocal texture in the like vocoder synth. Go back and listen to Imogen Heap's, and then this, like, the difference is insane. So yeah, making it really feel kind of one-dimensional. Overall, a pretty bland track to end the album on. Simple melodies and rhythm, but I will say there's a really nice use of space going on. Everything fits nicely and it's quite dynamic. So yeah, this is a mixed bag. There are moments where Ed kind of proves he's still got it, but too often songs feel kind of flat, first draft, bland. Ideas that could have been pushed way further, but instead got streamlined into the safest possible version. For someone with Ed's track record, it feels like he's running out of surprises, and maybe the charts finally are too. It's not that it's bad, it's just, it's listenable, and that's kind of it. I don't think you're coming away from this feeling any different. So with all of that, I think I'd give this album a 4.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you joining me right here and now. Feel free to leave a comment, whatever. I love hearing from you, so yeah, be a pleasure. And hopefully catch you on the next one. Tot ziens, jongens.